but they go with the Jug instead.
No, that they do. Jug very safe as a position 1, just... It's very stable, right? Like, there's nothing special about this hero, but it does just survive a lot. It is able to farm up, and you get to a point where you get that Aghanim Scepter Jug, and he just kind of feels broken after that stage. Wind and Rain, they're probably going to look at this Jug and not be too concerned, but I feel like you always want something, some kind of disable that goes through the spin to really just be able to lock him down and make him feel a lot less comfortable on the map. We'll see if they get something to do that. Right now, they have nothing to get through the spin to just cancel TPs or just stun him up a little bit. Will they prioritize something like that?
They've got the option for Core Beastmaster. Despite the nerfs, I think a lot of people... Again, I was looking at numbers. With the Ags nerf, without the bonus damage, it's about 20% DPS decrease. If those numbers were right. I haven't run the numbers myself, but it's in that ballpark. So it's pretty big, but the Beastmaster kind of with the Ags build still works and does give you the roar. Double roar potential with a Grimstroke here. So that's one way for Wind Rain to kind of get that done. If they're really worried, they go with the Line instead.
Wow.
So I think the mindset here is if you can jump the Chug and just hex him up, no worries. But Arkosh, take the Warlock. I like this. Warlock Jug is another very boring lane. Very stable. There's some excitement that can happen with, say, Fatal Bonds, the creep wave with a spin, or upheaval and spin just for the slow. It's going to be really nice. You've got the heal on hand with a healing ward in the Jug. It's going to be very hard to zone him out despite being up against a Timbersaw.
Yes, that means Io Slaughter is, I believe, the off lane now, and the Jug should have his Warlock as a position 5. Wind and Rain, they are going to go for the PL pickup, so I don't know if I'd call that a complete counter pick these days, especially into what Arkosh already has, but it does seem like quite a potent kind of hero at the moment in the current meta. We'll see what kind of item build-up Wind and Rain go for. We used to make a lot of jokes in Season 1 of the NA DPC about the Aghanim Shard plus Octarine Core. I think I was telling you earlier, John, I did have the pleasure of going up against this in a pub game, and it was actually quite disgusting to play against. So,
yeah,
it did get nerfed. Don't forget that. It's not quite as strong as it used to be. But I have been seeing a lot of Phantom Lancers going for that build-up after the initial Diffusal and maybe a Manta style. So I'm very curious to see what Wind and Rain get up to on Rose.
Yeah, and it's also very interesting that they take this PL up against Pale Horse. We know Pale Horse loved that PL build. We know he always went for that PL build.
Absolutely.
I honestly think it's fine, but you need some initial items first. You don't just rush Octarine and just hope for the best there. I think you definitely need something like the Manta Diffusal, SNY Diffusal, something like that to just have some presence early on, and then transition to that build. I think that's the way to go. We'll see if Wind Rain opts for that.
But why?
Why what? Why not rush it? Or
yeah,
why go for it?
Why not just rush it?
Because you're a dead hero with just freaking what? Just Octarine. Like you don't do anything. Your illusions just tickle.
And shards.
Yeah,
John.
and shards. Yeah, it's nice, but it just tickles even with that buff to the shards. So you're gonna want some stopgap measures first. Again, we'll see what Wind Rain opts for. Love the PL here, despite that. Like, you don't have the best wave clear from Arkosh. PL against Jug is super awkward for Jug. Like, he's gonna try to Omni Slash a million illusions. Doesn't tend to end up well for the Juggernaut. Swift Slash might help out, but you really need to rely on me, Gremlo. I need to be blinking in, getting the stunts off in the PL, setting up for them from there. Maybe you get a good Fatal Bonds off. Yeah, that is dispellable though, but you rely on that instantaneous stun to lock the PL in and hopefully get the burst off. We'll see if Arkosh can do that. They probably want something mid now to help them clear illusions. The Ember Spirit's still an option. It hasn't been banned. They don't have the pick coming in though, so Wind Rain could grab that themselves if they want to. We saw Canis Vulpus playing that Ember last time. He was very aggressive, but it kind of worked out. And yeah, Void Spirit comes through and Ember comes through. All right.
Yeah, I was gonna
natural PL counter.
I was gonna say right after the Void Spirit as well. Like the Ember just seemed like a very obvious pick. The Ember does enjoy the Void Spirit matchup quite a lot, and we've seen it quite a few times. Ember just seems to come out on top every time. Like, you've got this really nice right-click damage on the Void Spirit, but Ember has even higher right-click damage a lot of your magic damage just gets blocked by the Flame Guard, and you get chained up on that Void Spirit, you're kind of just screwed over. You don't really have much in the way of getting out.
Yeah, I think it's just a shift in itemization, right? Like before, when we were seeing more of this Ember Spirit versus Void Spirits in 7.28, way back when, or even last year, it was mainly Ember Yules, right? Ember Yules, Spirit Vessels build up, and the Void Spirit kind of went the same route. Yules, maybe a Vessel, usually not, but like an Ags Rush afterwards. And that kind of lined up your initial timings. You get Brown Boots, Yules, no one has an item advantage. Nowadays, it's Brown Boots, Orb of Corrosion, Phase Boots for the Ember, whereas the Void Spirit still has to build Yules, and it's just a lot quicker for an Ember, right? You just pop off so much quicker with that damage you have with the Sleight of Fist. And of course, this is something Canis Vulpus is comfy with, so we'll see if he manages to find that timing. Of course, as you mentioned, the lane matchup it feels a lot nicer for the Ember nowadays. Like, I think it boils down to the fact that everyone has water runes in mid. Like 2 minutes, then you have your 3-minute bounty rune and 4-minute water rune. It means that even if the Void Spirit can dominate mid somehow, the Ember Spirit just kind of bounces back and still hits that itemization timing that just overcomes what the Void Spirit wants early. So you do have to watch that back and forth here for Cassius C.
I want you to know, by the way, John, that had you not returned, Goat was actually willing to jump in and cast with me. So you've ruined that for me, John. Thank you for that.
That's fine. I mean, you've got me, Gremlo, you know.
I mean,
Gremlo.
Yeah, but, you know, Goat would have been pretty good, John. Gremlo's alright, but...
I'm pretty good. I'm
yeah,
good.
but you know Goat, John.
I got my blink timing. You know, I was getting some crushes off. Didn't I do enough?
You're,
I want my cat litter.
At the end of the game, John, I had a look at your items. Only Solar Crest up on Gremlo last game, so... I don't know what to tell you, John. It seemed like you got a bit cocky at the end and started deleting items. Goat didn't do that.
Can't fault me. Hey, you can't control the demons, okay? You know, it just overcomes sometimes.
What is this they're drawing now? They're drawing triangles.
Oh.
Wow. So they at least demons know shapes apparently, which is very good news. Square.
Great for me to know.
Very bad circle. Another circle. Hopefully they're not drawing what I think they're drawing. There you go, John. Some shapes, some lines. It's like a preschool. Very good stuff.
We've got a kindergarten class of demons here, all learning their shapes, their colors. I'm sure you know, we're having a good chat about smiley faces as well. Look at that positivity here coming through. Well, good spirits, demons and good spirits sounds like an oxymoron. Doesn't it?
Yeah. Crow gets a tip for no apparent reason, but we do have the reconnection out. Speed Crow. I mean, I guess with the Slaughter, he is quite speedy. So, there we go. Unpause is there. Game number 2 underway. Yeah, I never asked you either, John. Did you like Wind and Rain's draft, or were you kind of leaning towards Arkosh?
This one's a bit more even. I think the PL has a lot of value, but you have to worry about the Ember hitting those timings with Maelstrom. So it's a bit more back and forth. They don't have to worry about cooldowns too much when Rain's end, which does give them a bit of an edge. I'd say it's rather even. I'd lean towards Arkosh, mainly because they've got the Warlock and the Ember, of course, into PL. That's always nice. So you've got the counter pick, and of course you've got Warlock. No?
Yeah.
Gotta rep my boy.
You've also got Sabo, who's reminding the chat to fix their shrimp posture. And again, I'm not sure what that means, but well, just make sure you check your posture, people. You don't want to have a hunchback like I do.
Yeah, you know, sit up straight, use a nice gaming chair, maybe something from XPG. There you go. Fix it up. Get into your gamer mode. Don't. You know, good posture helps you focus more. Circulates the blood better. And just lets you focus in. So it's good advice all around from Wind and Rain and from the side of Arkosh. Just make sure everyone's got the straight back. In case they do take your soul, at least it'll look nice.
Thank you for that, John. Goat, nice little D ward already on that small camp. And that was a bit of an obvious observer ward to place in that small camp. Generally speaking, you'd usually go for the sentry and place it somewhere very sneaky, but that wasn't the case. They just tried to place the obs ward there, and well, that's going to give Goat quite a bit of gold to get started. Wind and Rain now, no Observer Ward in that off lane is going to feel kind of bad. Even with the small cap now available, and that's a very nice spin out from Pale Horse. Just to avoid the Earth Spike, stun, and damage. And now with that ward gone, John, Goat's just going to be able to continuously get the small camp pull off unless Sabo is there to deny the small camp even spawning up and does get the courier. He's going to realize that maybe his large camp is blocked while he's there as well. And it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a really good back and forth from the support, so.
Pale Horse.
Pale Horse.
It's a lot of damage out. Not going to be quite enough yet, though. Sword doesn't have that level 2 timing. Is probably going to go for the reactive armor anyway, so kill potential should be quite low, at least for a few levels in this bot lane. Which leads us to the mid lane, John. Canis Vulpus up against Cassius C. Canis, for now, is dominating the lane. Already 6 CS ahead.
Yeah, that's what you like to see for the Ember, just going for that early aggression, clearing out the wave a lot faster. Cassius C, it's difficult. You don't get as much value from your Resonant Pulse and blocking physical damage because, well, Ember has a lot of good magic damage. You can't burst down the Flame Guard as well at level 2. Canis Vulpus just tends to have a good time shoving out the wave, and when you shove out the wave like this at 2 minutes, at 3 minutes, you get to go around the side runes, pick up your water rune, get the refill. You could go to the other side if you want to. The bottle is coming out for Cassius C, but he might be forced to pick up the water rune without the bottle, so he's not getting full refills.
Gremlo is going for a man fight. Rose is going to try and turn Gremlo. He may have overstayed his welcome and does. Why? He's able to get the first blood on the Grimstroke, and it was a bit of a close call for both sides, but Rose, understanding how far he can push his PL, does manage to come out on top.
Yeah, and this lane for me is not the easiest. Like, there are ways for the PL to play around this. You play with your Doppel, you maybe play around with your Spirit Lance as well, and you've got that combination with a Brimstroke. You're a melee core in the Slardar. Inkswell just punishes you for over-committing, and the burst healing coming out from an IO isn't amazing early on, so you're just not going to be able to out-sustain the damage throughput of Wind and Rain if you're not careful here.
Absolutely not. Having a look back to that mid lane, Canis is still just dominating the lane. Cassius C is able to keep up now on the Void Spirit just a little bit, but you never really want Embers to have this good of a start. It's not going to feel very good for Wind and Rain, and feels like Canis is just never going to have to go back to the Fountain. Prior to that level 6 mark, at least. Cassius C, he's on the catch-up, just 1 CS behind now, but he's going to be very careful. I mean, this Void Spirit, it doesn't quite feel as powerful as it used to be after those slight nerfs it received, and we haven't seen it much in the recent meta for a reason. Just feels like it drops off so darn quick these days. In comparison to the Ember, who doesn't really feel like it drops off ever. Just has constant scaling.
Yeah, it just has really good leveled spikes. You can see what happens when you try to force the issue by the creep wave without anything else to cop that Searing Chains. You just get stuck, you burn down, and again, Canis Vulpus gets to shove in, gets to go into the water rune. Ideally, in this situation, you'd want Sabo to find the angle for the stun. Like, you want to play with the chain stuns your supports have compared to Arkosh. Like, a Warlock IO does not give you a lot of control for rotation, so the line has more presence in that sense if you find the angle.
Cassius C, that's a lot of damage out. Canis is going to go with the Flame Guard and try and chase him down underneath the tier 1 tower. Cassius C still running, but Canis is not giving up. I don't know about this, though. It might not be a great idea. Canis, he's overstayed his welcome, but Cassius, no, he will get the kill. The tower changes its mind. Sword will pause the game. And we do have the sorry. A bit of an accident, quote-unquote. Canis Vulpus, he gives him the no problem, and Crow gets it.
Yeah, they accidentally chat wheeled, and Crow is having a bit of a giggle about it. You know, just because of the all chatting. I mean, these guys are going back and forth, right? Like, Cassius C got told level 4 lull, and now he gets the kill. He's feeling good about himself, and it's not an accident, Crow says, but we hold on. The game's not tapped out, of course. Just, again, a little bit of BM, but that's what we expect when anyone plays against Arkosh. So far for Wind and Rain, it's looking like the same story from game 1. They've got that early aggression, they've got the first 2 kills on the board, but the farm for Arkosh is piling up. It's not as insane with a Jug, but it's starting to kind of build up, and you have to watch for that potential farming to come true. Once you get into the jungle with a Battle Fury, the Jug can be more efficient. However, PL early on, just by having illusions around to scout out camps and Phantom Rush, can be a bit faster without items and farm. So in that sense, Wind Rain should be a bit better off here.
They should be. Top lane. Gremlo and Crow have been rather aggressive on the Slaughter IO, and so they should be, as Canis now is going to show up. Until why, they really just want the Grimstroke dead and they'll get him. Because that'll mean Rose really has to back off on this Phantom Lancer now. Crow is going to go for a bit of a dive though, and the TPs are going to come in to try and help out, but Rose is very limited as to where he can go, as Crow is just blocking the way. He does have Doppel, but he is holding out. There's your chains now from Canis. He'll go for the Doppel, but Rose should eventually die, and does. As Crow does find the right one on the IO. More TPs in, they want to try and punish. Maybe able to kill off Gremlo, as Cassius C showing up now with the Inkswell out. Gremlo is going to go down, and Crow should not be too safe either. They do get the Aether Remnant. They get another kill. If you're Arkosh, you might still be satisfied with that, considering you did get the PL, but I suppose 2 for 1, still this early on, it's a pretty even trade.
Yeah, I'd say it's more like a 2 for 2, right? Like they killed the Grimstroke earlier on, so Y just respawns, comes in. Canis is staying though. Canis
in a little bit of trouble here as the Inkswell does pop, and alright, that's definitely more worth it for Wind and Rain now.
Yeah, Canis just sticking around too long, not respecting that control is a bit awkward. We've seen this a couple of times from Canis, and Cassius C lets him know that he's happy. Of course you would be finding that kill. So he's bouncing back 2 to 5, less than 1k lead coming out for Wind and Rain, and they are matching the aggression out quite nicely. They've kept really big lid on my progression on the offlane. Like Gremlo is not quite hitting the level spikes you'd want. It's 7.5 minutes in, still stuck at 4, about to hit 5. Crow's a level ahead somehow on the IO, so not quite the ideal here for a Slaughter, and you're gonna need to find a way to compensate for that. Try to build up the blink timing, very key to get that control on the PL as this game goes on. You are getting a little bit more farm on Pale Horse down bot in terms of CS, and that should lead to a pretty smooth Battle Fury timing, all things considered, which is very important to maintain that farm pace. And you just need to kind of protect the Jug as well as this game goes on. And sure, Canis Volpus doesn't go too wide.
Well, Canis, speaking of, has been caught out, but is going to be just fine. His goat was around to make sure he does stay rather safe, and Wind and Rain not able to really capitalize that time around, but just the net worth of Cassius C now on the Void Spirit is going to make him feel pretty good, as he is where he was top. Crow can be targeted up that top side, but gets the tether out. Still Sabo is going to be able to Earth Spike him up. You do have the Slithering Crush. Wind and Rain unable to capitalize there with Cassius C. Sabo does manage to deny off the tier 1 tower. And this Void Spirit is still chasing. He's got an Arcane Rune active. While that was happening, mid lane, Canis Volpus does end up dying. He kills off Y, but he ends up giving away his own life for that. Now Goat's in trouble. Rose gonna show up, Crow trying to help out, but they just melt. Oh boy. Not sure what was happening in that mid lane, but Arkosh, they're giving a few kills away.
Yeah, it's a bit more than you want to give out at this point. But it's for sure it's starting to build up here for Wind and Rain. And we have seen that come out from Canis Volpus a couple of times. He commits for supports, he overstays, he gets punished, but he's buying space for his core. Like the rotation out from Sword means that Pale Horse is just given some room on bot lane to keep farming up. However, they are starting to rotate in now. They're almost at the point where Sabo has level 6 as well, and he's got the smoke ready to get the side lane rotations out. So once you see that spike on the line, you have to be very cautious about how far forward you go here on Arkosh.
Mid lane, Canis again gonna drop. Arkosh, they tried to relocate in to help out, but not quite fast enough. Cassius hoping for a rune, but unfortunately for him, it's going to be up at the top rune spot, and it was a regen, which would have been rather perfect for the Void Spirit, but Goat is going to take it now on the Warlock, and well, still it's a 3-9. Wind and Rain very much in the lead now. Arkosh, I suppose with their own draft, are going to take a bit more time to get online. So I suppose this is kind of fine as long as they keep the net worth advantage quite low. But for Wind and Rain, you can certainly start pressing the advantage very soon with your own drop. Now top side, Gremlo. Gonna get lanced up, but he's gonna be just fine with Crow around. Let's just back out of there.
You do have to worry about how much Rose is getting here. It's still lagging behind the Jug a bit. This is going to be a steady build-up into the Manta Diffusal that you want to see on EPL, and at that point, he just gets really hard to hold down. You are going straight for a Maelstrom here for Canis Volput, so no build-up into the Orb of Roshan. He just wants a way of clearing those illusions out.
Very nice kill there from Cassius C. The sword, of course, there to help out on the Timber, but they got the big one. They got the Jug. Meanwhile, mid lane, Canis Volpus again going to be in a lot of danger, but no. It's only both supports around. And while Sabo has the finger, they can't quite get Canis low enough. Able to kill him off. Just a +1. Still, I mean, killing off the Jug is way more worth their time. And they still have a pretty nice chance at killing off Canis, if they can disable him up in that mid lane, but it looks like he's also going to back off. I think Arkosh are very well aware that they need a lot more time before they could really start fighting back.
Yeah, I mean, they've got certain spells they could use, like the...
Oh. They do kill off Y. Inksword doesn't pop, and now Rose might be in trouble, but Canis can't really lock him down. Sword gonna show up on the Timber. Gremlo, he's gonna be targeted. He'll run right through the Chakram, but Sword is gonna chase him down. Meanwhile, Canis has been hexed up. Sabo just trying to keep control on the Ember. Canis wants to keep going, but Rose is gonna show up again. Arkosh, they are unable to capitalize. At least for now, as Wind and Rain again, they'll move in. They don't really have the lockdown right now, not without Sabo initiating on the Lion. On the brighter side though, Arkosh, they've just wasted a bunch of time in the Dire jungle and they get nothing.
Yeah, they're at least getting space out for Pale Horse. Still stuck down bot, one part away from the full Battle Fury, so the Jug's about to hit that farming spike that the hero absolutely loves. There's a bit of a smoke out here from Canis Volpus and Good. They're still sitting on that chaotic offering. Haven't really managed to pop it yet. So I guess they're just going to look for an angle, maybe try to play with Fatal Bonds and Sleight of Fist.
Still Wind and Rain have smoked up now. Back down to the bot side where Pale Horse is still farming, and there is Cassius C jumping in. Pale Horse, no spin available. The Aether Remnant did miss. He'll have it up in 1 second now. Pale Horse just going to run to the tree line, and we'll be able to TP straight away. Back on the left side, Goat. Gonna get caught, Sabo, able to get the Hex off. Still, Canis is going to show up, but they just fingered down one. Why? He will drop the Gremlo. Sword now to show up on the Timber. Chased down Gremlo for a bit, but the relocate out was there, and now Canis is going to be chased down, but it's going to be a bit too fast. Sabo, no blink up yet on the Lion either. Unable to keep up with Canis, so it will end up being a 1-for-1 trade on both supports. It's like Arkosh, they do try to pressure the mid-tier 1 tower a little bit, but Wind and Rain, they're going to be around to defend. No problems here for the Dire.
Yeah, you do manage to hit that battle for your time now, and Pale Horse is going to be clearing out these Ancients, nicely stacked up for him. So he's going to get a good injection of gold to try and take back that lead in net worth. Arkosh also have managed to finish up the mechanism here on Crow, so you've gotten a lot more healing coming through. But what Arkosh need to do now is just really look for an opportunity to play with Golem. Like, Goat kind of just dies in the front, so you really want to initiate with your Slardar first.
Gremlo's in.
From there.
Yeah, speaking of, Sword, gonna get Fatal Bonded up, but he's a very tanky boy. Chances are you probably aren't gonna get through the HP pull of the Timber. Arkosh not even gonna bother. They'll try to find somebody else. It looks like they are gonna find one. It's gonna be Sabo on the Lion, but he gets the Earth Spike, and the Inkswell's even there from Y to try and help him escape. And again, Arkosh, they're unable to lock anyone down. Just nobody dying. All these rotations are kind of just failing. Wind and Rain, they're just going to keep hanging around that mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah, they're just constantly keeping the wave shoved in. They're getting some really good space out for Rose to farm up as well. And you are starting to pull ahead here for Pale Horse and Jug. But the PL's really not lagging too far behind. The Diffusal should be up and running soon here. That's going to be a massive spike. And you can see Wind and Rain, They are still trying to smoke around. They've got fingers still about 40 seconds away, but just line with control and the cast CC with the damage could be enough here.
Crow is around though on the IO, which is going to make it a lot more difficult. Unless they aim him instead, but that's going to allow Pale Horse to get out. Here we go, Sabo. No, they were unable to get this Hex off into the stun, and now Pale Horse, he's going to turn around. They're trying to kill off Crow, but he has a mech up. So he will be able to get away, and now the cavalry is coming in. Pale Horse, he is still perfectly fine. They drop the golem, the Omni Slash out, and it does bounce. The way of the Void Spirit. Cassius C is going to try and find a way out of this, but it looks like he is set to die. They will let Sabo get out on the line instead, but it's obviously much more worthwhile going for the Void Spirit. That is rather unfortunate. Pale Horse, he was just a bit too fast in the spin timing.
Yeah, and it's just the issue of the Jug up against Lion. Like, without the blink, it's very hard for Sabo to find that angle to get the control, and that's always going to be the issue when you try to jump the Jug. You just need to be able to get that blink up on the Lion first, to have some patience for that, and that's enough space for them to be comfortable with, although.
Gremlo, he's into the backlines, he's got the Grimstroke. Why? He's going to go down. Pale Horse even TPing in now with the relocate. They got Canis Vulpus, however. Onto the IO, Crow does go down. Cassius C setting up onto the Warlock. Goat, he's going to be fine for now as Sabo does die in the backside, but Goat is also going to go down. Arkosh, it's going to be a 3-for-2 trade. Not the best. Once again, they lose Canis Vulpus. It's been a very hard game for the Ember.
Yeah, it's kind of consistent, again, with what we've seen Canis Vulpus do in Game 1. He's always just willing to be way far forward, and it's very easy for Rain to punish that. But he's willing to do that just to give Pale Horse some space out. For Arkosh in that last fight, I'm just surprised they kind of forced a big team fight without the Chaotic Offering. Like, you need to respect the fact that Warlock without that spell means you're going to lack a lot of AoE control. And that's something Wind of Rain can really play against nicely. You've also got that spike again on the PL with the Diffusal. It can just run you down.
Oh, Goat, he's in danger. Rose just wants to take him down and does, but now the chain's out. Gremlo, he's going to be around with the stun. They've got the PL. Oh, that is not good news. Not for Wind and Rain, it's not. And Goat, he'll be happy to die like that if it means they get the position 1 PL. You want to be a little bit careful with those kind of kills. Like, yeah, it's an easy Warlock kill, but it really is not worth your life.
No, definitely not, man. That does set back Rose by just a bit. The gap between Rose and Pale Horse is starting to widen up. So your Jug is definitely going to continuously have this slight farm advantage if you kind of get caught out. Again, he naturally farms out a little bit faster with the Fury compared to the PL. You do have some big spikes here for Wind and Rain, though. The Blink is up on Sabo. They've got a smoke ready to go. You might want to wait for the next finger first for the blink reveal play, but you could also just force it out if you have a core with you. Could be a bit dicey going into that next fight, though. Chaotic Offering's going to be up for Goat, and they are lining up for the mid tower here.
That they are. It's still going to be a very hard tower to get, however. With the Timber Saw, it's always like you've got to get through this hero first before you can get to the tower. And with Sword, he's got the Hood of Defiance and the Lotus Orb, so that's going to make it very difficult. Actually take down this Timber Saw. First for Arkosh, though, as long as Pale Horse is farming, you're probably just more than happy to leave that tier 1 for now. Going back for a Mjolnir pickup, by the way, on the Jug. It's pretty fair when you think about the fact that he is going into the Phantom Lancer, but it is a bit of a late Mjolnir pickup.
It's kind of a greedy build. Like going Mjolnir with Battle Fury really accelerates your farm, but as you mentioned, it's just super good against illusions. I think that's all they really want. Just have a stable way of cleaving through, having the damage bounce around. They find a nice pickoff.
Yeah, Y goes down. Sword gonna spot out Canis, but you need Sabo to initiate. You can't really just do it with the Timber. Canis, however, he is quite low on mana right now, so Rose wants to keep the chase up. Remnant away, but that's the last one. Canis gonna keep running, but Cassius C knows that they might have an opportunity here. Instead, they are gonna spot out Goat. Not quite the one they would have wanted, but they'll take it. Better than nothing. Well, top side, Pale Horse is gonna spin TP away. They'll have nothing to get through it. Let's get the top tier 2 tower for his trouble. The Pale Horse, again, like he's finding the space, he's finding the farm, he's finding the towers. They've got no way of getting through the spin to cancel TPs off. Feels like this Jug pick is getting a lot of value this game already.
Yeah, it's just so hard to kind of deal with. Sabo, again, with the blink, can kind of gap close, but they need to find that angle to take out the Jug. And Pale Horse just doesn't make it easy, although.
Gonna go in now. Spin has been committed. Maybe they can commit. Sabo does have that blink on the line, so you do have the initiation. It's gonna hold the high ground of the triangle for now. Like Arkosh, they're just gonna be happy to sit around and defend. I mean, mind you, the tower is being chipped away at. Very slowly, but will eventually get done. Like for now, Arkosh, they're gonna be able to hang on to it. It's like Wind and Rain, they've had enough. Not willing to push this any further. They did buy a bit more time for Rose to try and catch up in terms of farm compared to the Jug, and you can already see Rose, he has queued up that Heart of Tarask and the Shards upgrade straight after. Does spot out Pale Horse to boot. Pale Horse, X-Well's there, he does not have spin available, he's in trouble. The Eye are going to try and help out, relocate is there from Crow. Horse just relying on his Eye to make sure he survives, but Crow might just be dead here. Arkosh, they have smoked up behind Rose. They do jump in on the IO, but Pale Horse is in with the spin now, and it's a lot of damage out. The Golem even dropped just in case.
Hello, this is Gabe Newell. Thanks for playing Dota 2.
Cassius C and Rose both dying. Canis Vulpus, he will not hold back with the tips. That is a great turnaround from Arkosh.
Yeah, they managed to play to relocate really nicely. Wind and Rain kind of getting baited there. Right? Like, you think it's going to be an easy IO kill. Maybe the Jug doesn't turn back. The tier 2 is there. The outpost is there. They've got a lot of points to jump into for Arkosh to approach. And they don't respect that enough. So, good punishment coming through. Arkosh, though, without the Golem, could be a bit tricky going into these bigger fights. But that mid-tier one's definitely gone.
That it is. Gremlo now catching out too in the stun. Sabo going to be targeted. It does drop sword. He's going to try and fight back. And he almost gets Crow, but not quite. Crow will be able to just kind of reset on the IO now. And Arkosh, they are still pretty healthy. They still don't really want to fight into the Timber, however. The tier 1 mid tower was more than enough for the side of Arkosh. Right out of there again.
Yeah, just in and out. No real need to force the issue there for Arkosh, as they're still waiting for the chaotic offering for the bigger fights. Just need a little bit more patience here, and you can look to re-engage. The side of Wind and Rain, they need this heart to be up and running on a Rose. Right? You have to have that tanky peel up front. You can start playing with illusions from there. The Ags as well for Cassius has kind of stalled out, and that silence is going to be big because Pale Horse didn't go for anything defensive.
They've got the Jug, Pale Horse in big danger. Finger around, it's going to be enough. Good initiation there from Sabo onto Goat. They want another. Goat is going to get used up just before the TP. Be able to get the secondary kill there onto Sword. And relocate in as well. I suppose Crow was probably trying to save Pale Horse the second time, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, double kill.
He's going to die, and that's a double kill out for Sword. They won't rush for the Roshan pit or anything like that, because the PO, not the greatest Roshan hero. They'll just leave it be. Now, Arkosh, they actually assume that Roshan is happening, but well, they'll soon find out that is not the case.
Yeah, it's again, good punishment this time around from Wind and Rain. They managed to punish Arkosh for being a bit too deep. They didn't have the deepest wards here to watch the movement of Wind and Rain. You really need that vision game to stay up if you want to dive that far in. Most of their vision is just down here bot, so if they want to kind of play farm, they've got to do it defensively for their wards right now. You just don't have the information to really go up far that forward, and it does give Wind and Rain some key item timings. Like the Kaya Sanj up on the Tim means that sword's going to be hard to deal with, although...
Yeah, Gremlo initiated. Canis is onto Y. They're going to get the Grimstroke, but now the double lance is around, and well, they're not going to do much. Meanwhile, on the other side, looks like they have also caught out Sword on the Timber. Goat threatening with the Golem. Won't throw it out yet, Sword. Well, now the Golem is there. They really want the Timber kill. He's still trying to make a run for it. Chains out in just a second. But no, they get the kill. Arkosh will be pretty happy with that one. Thing is, they won't really be able to capitalize off the golem in terms of push, but it looks like that won't really matter, John, because they can rush for the Roshan pit.
And again, they've got the Slaughter, they can get the minus armor off. It's really easy to melt through that hero, the Roshan, and Wind and Rain are aware. They're kind of pumping around the area. Can they go for a steal here?
Doesn't look like it, Sabo. Not going to blink in. Would have been way too risky without any form of vision. Now with that Aegis up, I mean, if you're Arkosh, you're going to be feeling a lot more confident with yourself. It's going to be much harder for Wind and Rain to really take a team fight. Mind you, Rose is very close to the heart. He's almost there, but even then you might just want to wait out this Aegis. I say that. Gremlin gets caught. Inkswell is there. Spin from Pale Horse just in time. They will not have the damage to kill off Gremlin, and Wire's going to drop. Onto the IO they go. They will try to get Crow instead, but Crow is still fine. Kane, as he kills off Sabo. And they are onto the Void Spirit. Cassia C's gone now. Sword. He'll chain away. Pale Horse is still chasing him down, however. Has the Omni up. They are really wanting this Timber as they do get the stun off. Sword has the Lotus, but is dropping quite fast. And there's your spin out now. Pale Horse, he is not done. But he won't go high ground. He's not willing to risk it that far. Very intriguing kind of team fight to take if you're Wind and Rain. Like, we just talked about the Aegis being taken by our junk. Even with the perfect initiation, it would have been a very hard team fight. It was very wishful thinking.
I think it's down to the fact that they have this Ags timing up on Cassia C, so they feel pressure to make something happen with the AoE silence on the Void Spirit. They didn't really get the best use of the spell, and that's always going to be a bit of an issue. You need your line to be ready to follow you up there. Their positioning just was a bit more scrambled, and again, they force it into Aegis, as you mentioned. It's not a very clean fight to take. Maybe they were also considering the fact that Golem was still going to be down, so Goat did not have as much presence there. And the issue is they were trying to focus on the Warlock and the IO instead of really locking the bigger heroes down, and from then on, like, the Jug just gets to do everything for free. In fact, I'm thinking about Pale Horse. I don't recall him ever using Omni Slash this game yet. Like, he's got 7 kills, 2 assists, 2 deaths. I can't remember an Omni Slash from any of that. So he's just getting work done with his spin, with his raw right clicks. And Wind and Rain are just not able to cope with that, even just that.
There was at least one, but that's the only one I remember. Just one Omni before, and more now. They do commit it onto the Timber Sword. He's going to drop. They try to jump in, but it's way too late. Cassia C, he did give it an attempt. Rose is going to show up now with that heart up, but it doesn't seem like Arkosh care at all. They're going to rush in onto Y. They will get another. Onto the mid-tier 2 tower they go. Wind and Rain. They are going to be looking for an answer here, John, but I think time is slowly running out for them. Arkosh, they've got everything they could ask for. Hell, Pale Horse has 5k gold almost. Just sitting in the bank account, and looks like he wants a full eye of Scardia. I mean, why the hell not?
Yeah, it just takes away a lot of that sustain they have, especially on Timber Saw. It makes it a lot softer. This is so hard to fight against if you're Wind and Rain right now. Like, upheaval comes in, you can't even jump in to defend your racks, and
wow. Sabo, he just disappears. Onto the mid-racks they go. Wind and Rain, again, very limited options as to how they can defend this, but they will try to go in onto Crow, but again, the heal's out. Just so much sustain with the Warlock IO. They can just go back in. They're all full HP. There is nothing. Trying again. Gremlo, a massive stun onto 3. They've got the Void Spirit. Canis, he is dropping low, however. He might just drop on this Ember. He does barely go down, but Pale Horse, he's not done yet. With the Aegis up, he wants to keep going, but now he might need to back as Crow. He's going to be in danger on the IO. They will be able to get him or not. The stun is out. Gremlo, it's not going to be enough. Onto the Slana they go. Pale Horse is being completely ignored. I suppose you can't really ignore him forever. Cassia C does die. Crow, he fought back. Into the team fight, another nice stun out from Gremlo. They will get another kill onto Rose, now the PL, trying to survive, but just can't.
More than 2 kills, but less
They'll
than
get
4
another.
kills.
Triple kill out for Pale Horse. Firebacks flying out left, right, and center. Gremlo, oh, that's a great stun again onto
God.
Cassia C. XD out from Canis Vulpus. Sword, he's got the chakra, but he has to be careful because he has Omni in 2 seconds. And he can also get a Rampage. And you know he wants it. They're testing the waters. Pale Horse, he's just going to rush in. Aegis does expire. Y is going to go down, but he waited too long. He will not get the Rampage out of this. It won't matter though. He's a man of business. He wants the melee barracks. He's going to be able to get it. No Omni necessary.
Yeah, they just managed to continue to force that fight. The heals coming out from Goat are just too much already.
Sword in danger again. Lotus up. Oh, he missed the chain. Oh, the chain didn't reach the tree line. Onto Sabo now. They drop the golem on his head. They know there's no buybacks left. Dead Shrimp hits the core from Canis Vulpus, and well, they're not calling it. The respawn timers aren't that high. It just doesn't look great for them.
Yeah, it's a bit rough coming through for Win and Rain. And the response coming in, they can't get Megged, but the Q4s are going to be under siege. There is no Golem, but how do you contend with Pale Horse right now? He's just too big, and damage output's just way too much now.
Indeed. They go in onto Rose again. The PL just going to have to stick in the fountain. That's all he can do. You know you can't fight right now. They must realize the Jug ulti is still up as they go in onto Gremlo. Goat about to drop, but not quite. The heals are out again. Pale Horse trying to find a target. Rose is trying to ignore him. Maybe they get Goat, and they do. Pale Horse, who are you aiming for, sir? Back in onto Sabo. Rose does drop to Canis Vulpus. Cassia C, very low. Pale Horse still refusing to Omni.
Yeah.
Why
Just holding
not?
on. Just
Why though?
why not? I mean, if you can find kills without using it, that sends a message. And Arkosh is sending a message here, looking good in game number 2 as well. So,
I mean, Crow,
Nah.
he's almost been dead so many times now, but he just keeps surviving. Onto the Ancient they go. Wind and Rain refusing to call it. There's your stun out again from Gremlo. Onto 2 heroes in the fountain. Onto Cassia C. Pale Horse, he might die to the fountain damage, and it looks like he wills the Aether Remnant. Does catch him out. Maybe now they can fight back. They're going to try, but Gremlo and Canis Vulpus, they're onto the Ancient. A great stun again from Gremlo. Onto Cassia C. He's going to try and dissimulate and just run his way out. Sabo's there with the Hex as well. Maybe they can still fight. But Canis, he does get the kill onto Cassia C. He might just drop, but Gremlo, he is going to get the Ancient. He's getting the Catalyst today, and he does give him the easy as well. As is tradition, you've always got to give the easy. Wind and Rain, unfortunately, John, they will go home tonight with no wins under their belts.
yeah, rather unfortunate for Win and Rain, but Arkosh looking good in this series, just managing to play spectacularly well, having a great time in game 1 and game 2, and they kind of had the same play style in both games. It was all about just giving Pale Horse all the space in the world to farm up, and the events really just hit that point where Pale Horse was too hard to handle. Like, they might have been able to get Rose some farm here in this game, and it was keeping up with the Jug in a good way. You didn't have a big advantage on the PL end. You got some item timings for Wind and Rain, like the Blink on Sabo was up. They never managed to make use of it instantly, which I think took away some of that potency. And the moment they split up, Arkosh just felt really comfy in finding those pickoffs, cleaning up, forcing them to clump up afterwards around an objective, and getting that punishment. So just really well played from Arkosh. I think Win and Rain, maybe go back to the drawing board, reconsider some of their approaches to the games, the timings they want to hit, and the movement they want to get done. Because at some point, it just felt a little bit too scattered that Arkosh could just really punish.
Absolutely. With that, I believe we are going to have a winner's interview coming in. It's not going to be anyone from Arkosh, though. It's going to be a friend of somebody from Arkosh, John. I'm not sure if you've read the details. Do you want to explain it while I try to get things set up?
Yeah, we've got a fellow here coming in. I believe he claims to be a friend of, well, a friend of one of our demons, a friend of Mr. Goat. So we're gonna have to listen to this friend, kind of just you know, it's like I guess it's like a seance. We're talking to demons. We've got an intermediary psychic, I guess, which is his friend. And I don't know how this interview will work, but I'm looking forward to see just how it will be. I guess. I mean, I don't know why we're even asking for opinions from demons. It sounds like a bad idea. Doesn't
Absolutely.
sound like they've got anything good to say. You saw the all chat in both games,
I did.
but I guess we'll just find out. You know.
He'll be in the chat very very soon, and we'll get to have a conversation. I believe it is God Z who's the friend of somebody from Arkosh. So, well, whose friend is he?
Should be the friend of Goat,
Right. Okay.
I believe.
Well, it'll be fairly soon. I don't know how much information we're going to be able to get out of him, considering we don't have anyone that was from the actual game. But I guess as his friend, he knows quite a lot about the man. So we'll see. We'll try to pick his brain a little bit and see what he knows about these demons. Wouldn't necessarily recommend being friends with demons either, John. Generally not the greatest idea, but sometimes you just take what you can get.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe we are ready now. We're just waiting for a chance to drag him in. I believe I see him up there. I'm not sure if I've got the power. I don't have the power.
You don't
I,
have the
I
power.
can't drag friends of demons. I can't. There, but you can. There he is.
Hello, Mr. Godzi. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Why am I here?
Why
Why are you here?
Actually, I think Goat wanted to come in for an interview, but he's not. He's kind of busy right now. I think he has the dentist appointment, so he asked me, a very good friend of his, to come in for him. How you guys doing today?
We're very well, thank you. How are you?
I am good.
Well,
I did
yeah,
just
that-
watch Arkosh have a convincing 2-0 victory.
Yeah,
You did it.
It was
Go on,
It
John.
was pretty darn good. Okay, so you're a friend of the players, which means I can't really ask you anything direct. Heck, I don't even know what to ask any of the demons anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you this. Are the rumors of Canis Vulpus's conduct in terms of toilet cleanliness true? Does he actually manage to clean up after himself, or is the team house a constant mess there? Would you happen to know?
I'm not sure about the team house there, because I'm pretty sure they all live in a demonic realm. So
Right,
I'm not sure
right.
if there's a house going on down there. I'm really not too sure if demons need to take the number 2 as well. So I don't know how to answer that question.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I am curious. Like, we had some lobby delays initially. Is there any insights as to what might have caused an issue there for perhaps the demons? Maybe they weren't summoned in time. Maybe there wasn't enough awaken in chat.
Yeah, Gold. I was actually watching Gold trying to summon Pale Horse. It seemed like he got stuck somewhere in the tunnels of summoning.
Wow.
But luckily they did have a backup plan. Shadow was ready, as he always is. Fortunately, the summoning did go through, and they managed to pick up Pale Horse, which had pretty good performances in both games.
Yeah. Fair enough. Now I've got one last question before I let Mike take over. We saw the Warlock come out in game 1 for him win rain, and you guys took it in. Well, your friend took it in game number 2.
Yeah.
Were you guys looking for? I saw the screenshot once of that pentagram. Is that the game plan for Arkosh? When Warlock's out, you aim for the fatal bonds to find the pentagram. Does that give them power, or do they pick it because they think it's actually good or something?
Personally speaking, well, actually, sorry, Gold told me that Warlock is one of the more busted 5 heroes of this patch, and I think Team Arkosh as a whole has a pretty good idea how to play with it and play around it, especially Pale Horse. That's what he
All
told
right.
me, and
Fair enough.
yeah,
All right.
and also Fatal Bonds wasn't even the issue. I don't even think Gold casted Fatal Bonds that much that game. I think the
Yeah.
kill was really OP in game 2. I think Arkosh just has a better understanding of demons and warlock and golems and whatnot compared to Winner. That's
Oh
a
yeah,
given.
of course.
So could you explain to? I'm not sure if you're aware, but what's with the whole shrimp thing? We saw a lot of all chat in the game about shrimps and shrimp posture. Is it appropriate to talk about on the stream? Do you know what's going on with that?
Honestly, John, I have no clue.
Oh.
Mike, sorry, I have no clue. I think Canis Volpe is a little messed up in the head. So I mean, try to ignore most of the things he says.
Fair enough. With that, just one final question before I let you go. In your opinion,
Sure.
who's the best player on Arkosh Gaming? In
Oh,
your
Gold
opinion?
for sure.
Goat?
Definitely Gold. I think he's the standout player on that team. He always makes that 5 role looks very, very promising. You know, he makes
Yeah.
out the plays, he makes out the shot calls. It seems like Pale Horse is the one drafting, but it's actually Gold is the genius mind behind Arkosh. I mean, he summons the demons; they're all under his control, anyways, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It must be very hard for Goat having to carry the team every week, and the rest of the demons obviously just slacking off. But there you go.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you very much for your time, sir. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, and I hope you have a lovely night ahead of you.
Thank you. Go follow my Twitch channel.
What is it?
At God_Z Dota.
There you go.
All right, bye guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank
There you
you.
go. Go follow his Twitch channel, God_Z Dota. I'll go give him a follow after this, John. But that was the lovely God Z speaking on behalf of his friend Goat. What a lovely chap as well. Of course, with that though, we are going to have our next series popping up, and that is going to be the side of 5-man miners versus Dogchap. Now, Dogchap have been on a pretty hot run as of late, 2-0 right now, undefeated in every single series. 5-man miners currently 1-1, and I believe all their series have gone 2-1. So it's been a rather tough time for 5-man miners so far. They are sitting in the middle of the pack, not really in the relegation, so well, not really relegation, but being the bottom two, and not really in the upper half either. Right smack bang in the middle. Of course, they will have a chance to turn that around today if they can get a victory over Dogchap. Of course, that is going to be rather tough, John, considering Dogchap is undefeated. But let's see what happens. I mean, they've definitely got a decent enough chance.
Yeah, it should be a relatively close one. I think I remember Dogchamp having some words to say in Twitter about how their series went, something about smurfing, and them feeling like they're smurfing here
Yeah.
in the lower div. So we'll see if that pace maintains. Of course, 5-man minus did come in from the upper div, so they should definitely have a little bit more experience on hand. Of course, some roster shakeups here and there has caused some issues for a few of the teams, so we'll see if they overcome. But yeah, that one should be rolling up relatively soon.
Absolutely. And with that, John, we'll head off to a break. We'll be right back in roughly 10 to 15 minutes for our next series between 5-man Midas and Team Dogchat. We'll see you then.